Brian, what can you tell us about Manxman?
So in the early hours of the morning, Manxman had an allision with the quayside in Heysham and has sustained minor damage, but damage enough that we couldn't run the service last night and this morning. We have engineers on the way there. We obviously have engineers on board. We have had the Classification Society of Lloyd's Register attend already, and they will communicate with the flag state, the Isle of Man Ship Registry. We have a repair plan that we think we can implement over the next evening, and we're hoping that Manxman will be back in service tomorrow afternoon.
So that'll be the sailing out here, or sailing out of Heysham?
Tomorrow evening, sailing out of Douglas. We're hoping she's back by. The Ben will be able to manage the traffic between now and then, and we have the Arrow en route to Heysham to help with the freight as well. So all the contingencies have been put into place.
So as much as it is like early into exactly what happened, does it appear to just be in the wind as caught?
Yeah, unfortunately I think it is just a gusts caught the vessel, caught the captain out. These things happen. I think if you look through the history of the steam packet, I think you'll struggle to find a vessel that hasn't had an allision with a quayside, whether in Douglas or in Heysham. And unfortunately these things happen, and that is why we have contingency plans, which kicked in really well. The staff, the crew, everybody did a brilliant job in keeping things going and getting people moved around.
So say about getting back in service tomorrow, what sort of damage are we talking about? What has actually happened?
So there is a hole in the hull, quite a way above the waterline. So that'll be patched up, a temporary repair, and then it'll be fully assessed and repaired in a few weeks' time when she goes to dry dock, which was already planned.
And just in terms of say about contingency plans, so what from your end, what actually happened?
So there is an emergency response team that met in the early hours of the morning, assessed the issue, put a plan in place where we could, luckily in this occasion the Ben McCree was actually in situ in Heysham because she was doing a freight run as part of the Manx Grand Prix schedule. So we managed to juggle things around and actually get passengers on the Ben McCree coming back, rather than having to launch her from here and lose maybe another couple of sailings. So I think we were fortuitous in that way, but that's always what the plan would have been. And we've utilised, or we would have utilised the Manxman as well and put some people on that if the weather hadn't come back to haunt us again this afternoon.
Well, yeah, you have been sort of in this, the right moment really of this in terms of the weather, just everything has combined a little bit today.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at there's been press releases from the Met Office with weather warnings anyway, so I think it's well documented, and I think what we were trying to do was sort of work our way around these weather fronts, and we've just been caught out last night with this one, but the Manxman sailing this afternoon was always looking a bit questionable, and it's just unfortunate that the two have came together.
This has immediately drawn the attention of at least one of HK who's pointed out that because you have the Ben McCree, she was available for service.
Yeah.
You've been quite forthright saying that in an ideal world either the Ben or the Arrow would be sold. Yeah. Does this sort of put that decision into a bit more perspective?
It does, but there's other, you can look at it from one point of view of, we need this for these passengers, but it's a one-off, hopefully, in the space of a year, and the financial cost of that as well. So the whole thing does need looking at, but either way, the company have asked for permission to sell the Ben, and it's up to the Isle of Man government to decide if that's something that they can live with or not. And really, from a company perspective, we'll deal with either situation that ends up. And
just finally, do you expect this to be, it's been quite obviously this being this issue of Manxman, people said, when it first came into service, we had the Mythbusters thing you did about she's too tall, she's too this, she's that, and the other.
Yeah.
Is she more susceptible to this sort of event in Heysham than the Ben McCree, would you say, or is that just?
No, I could, as I said, I could go through the Ben McCree's record and see how many times that she's had an allision. It's just something that happens with running ferries or ships in general into tight ports, and Douglas and Heysham are both pretty tight in anybody's book. So.
Actually, just found on this one, you said about the staff here, obviously you guys earlier in the hours, but also the been a lot of praise from people that we've spoken to, but also from people online about the crew on board. We were saying about how not only they've done a good job, there's a lot of people who we haven't seen on that.
I know the entire Steam Packet team, from management to staff, ashore, aboard, the crew, the captains, the other officers. Everybody's pulled together really well, and I think it's it's a compliment to everybody that they can do that. There's been well documented negativity in the past, but actually when it comes to serving the customer, I think we're all aligned in that direction.